Hi everyone and welcome to my channel Curly-n-yarny. My name is Milena and for today's video I will be warping my loom for double weaving for the first time. So let's get started. Alright, so double weaving, that is something that has been on my mind for quite some time, and you guys have also had it on your mind because many of you guys asked me to do a video about this. So for today's video, I will be doing double weaving, or at least I plan on doing the warping in this video, and then in a second video I will be doing the weaving. It's quite a big subject, so I've decided to divide this into two videos. But before going any further, I still want to tell you that this is not going to be a tutorial videos per se, because this will be my first time, so it'd be a bit hard for me to do a tutorial, but it's mainly a video just to take you along with me on the journey of discovering double weaving on the rigid Heddle loom. I've already did double weaving, but on a 4-shaft loom at school, so it would be a bit different on the rigid Heddle loom, but I'm sure that's something that I can tackle with you guys today. So double weaving, what does that even mean? Well, just from the word we hear double and weaving, so yes, the idea behind double weaving would be to double the hand woven piece on the loom while on the loom. So there's actually 3 ways to look at this. So the first way to look at this would be to be weaving 2 different layers on the loom. So there would be a top layer and a bottom layer, and both layers would be independent. But there would be a way to also connect those 2 layers. And this would actually be the second way to be looking at the double weave, and that is to connect both layers on one edge. So this way there would be a top layer, and then there would be the connecting edge, and then there would be the second layer. Once this would be taken off the loom, we could actually open it up, and then we would have one large piece of cloth that would be actually the double size, because it's the 2 layers connected together. And then the third thing that could be done with this would, as you probably have guessed it already, to connect the 2 layers on both edges of the woven piece. So this way would be weaving in a tube, so it would be weaving in kind of in circular, and then once this would be taking off the loom, we would have a tube of weaving. But the beauty of this is that the 3 different possibilities can be made with the same warp. So if you want to try them all in one warp, it could be done. You don't really have to change anything except the way that you play around with the weft, but that's for the second video. Today we're mainly going to focus on the warp, so let's talk about this warp right now. Alright, so as you can see, I've already started a little bit, but I am going to haven't done that much, and let me just go back to the beginning and to how I managed to come to this point. So basically what I did is that I took 2 different balls of 2 different colors. Both those yarns were from a Lion brand, their Heartland collection. So I took one in gray, and I think the name is Smoky Mountains, and one in golden yellow, which I can't remember the name right now. And the reason why I took 2 balls is because for the warping I needed to double my warp. So basically the warping for this was pretty easy. I simply had to double the warp, just like I did in other videos where I doubled my warp for example, making dish towels that would be thicker. So I took the 2 balls of yarns and I direct warped like I usually do. The only difference is that this time I use my warping peg, because my room is getting a bit tight with all of the new equipment I've added, and the step ladder doesn't fit as well, so I decided to use the peg instead, and I regretted it because it fell at some point. So next time I'll try to make space for my step ladder, but that's just one side note. So basically the warping is pretty much business as usual if ever you're used to doubling your warp for dish towels or for other projects, for example. So the warping will be done with only one heddle. So I put the heddle on the loom and I started warping, making sure to pull one loop of each color at the same time. So this way I have 2 loops in each slot of my heddle right now, which means that there are 4 threads in each slot. For double with weaving, there's a few accessories that one would need. So you would need not only one but 2 heddles, and you would also need 2 pickup sticks that are at least as wide as the project that you want to double. For me today, you might notice that my warp is not that wide. The reason for this is that I didn't want to warp the whole loom and then do a mistake and get fed up because I need to redo everything. So I feel like it would be a bit of an overkill just for a sampler to test the technique out. So I worked for about 10 inches and I feel like this is plenty to really test the technique, but not too much just to get annoyed with it if ever things go wrong. So this is it for the width for today. Also, I forgot to mention, but both heddles need to be the same size in order to be working. So today I have 2 7.5 heddles. So the first heddle, the one that is stained, I got with my loom when I bought my loom in the first place. Also, the second one, the second heddle I have, so we see that is not stained. This one I actually managed to get thanks to my coffee members. So thank you again to you guys who wish to support me in this way. This really makes a difference for my channel. So in order to do this sampler today and to learn the technique, I'm actually referring myself to this book here, which is the Ashford Book of Rigid Heddle Weaving, the revised edition by Rowena Hart. It's hard for me to say in English. Rowena Hart. And so in this book there is a whole chapter about double width weaving, and so just not to get confused, they actually show 2 different techniques in order to warp the loom for 2 heddles. The first technique, the simple method, is really aimed at double weaving. The second method is also pretty cool, but the second one is if you would want to weave with finer yarns and be able to double the density of the project. So it's not really what we're trying to do today, so we are going to go with the simple method. Alright, so now I've reached a part that I believe would be a bit trickier, so the threading of the loom. Although in the book it seems pretty simple, pretty straightforward, so let's start this. So for the first step, I don't need the second heddle, this will come in later. So I can just put it away somewhere safe from the cat. I don't think it is safe from the cat, but what is? So when I finished warping my loom, I just kept all of my threads. I haven't cut the loops, so I'm just going to cut the loops and then it would be a bit easier to work with. The reason why I use 2 different colors is that there will be a top layer and a lower layer, and this would be a great way to actually differentiate them. I believe this actually makes learning the technique a bit easier, and I'm guessing it's also going to help when I will be doing the threading. As of now, since this is my first time, I don't know how to tell which one would be the top or the lower layer, but from what I can understand is that both heddles will kind of be responsible for weaving one of the 2 layers. And so in one heddle, in the eye, I will find one of the color, and then in the second heddle I will find the other color of threads. So now I just need to pick one color to go inside of this heddle here. So let's start with, let's say, the golden yellow. So now I have only one heddle on the loom to start with. The heddle is put inside of the resting position, so the neutral position, but I've already placed it behind, so it's like already the heddle that will be the back heddle throughout the project. So when I work the loom, I pull 2 loops out of each slot inside of the heddles, which means that I have 4 threads inside of each slots. 2 golden yellow and 2 gray. So I've got my 4 threads inside of my slot, and what I want to do, I want to take one of the golden yellow thread and thread it inside of the hole right next to it. So I'm going to follow the book word by word, so they're going from left to right, and they're putting the first thread inside of the eye to the right, so that's what I'm going to do. So now I've done one, that was easy, and so I have 3 remaining threads inside of the slot to the left, and then right to the right I have the 1 golden yellow thread. So let's do it a few more times. So here I've got 4 threads. I'm taking 1 golden yellow and I'm placing it in the eye right next to it on its right. Okay, so now that's done, I need to take this heddle and put it in the top position. I think I can also undo all of the knots. Then I put this one in the resting position, and I have all of the threads just... No, bad idea. Okay, I will redo the knots. Okay, take 2. This in the up. I need to find a way to make it stay there. This won't work. Take 2. So the back heddle is now in the up position. I have the second heddle, and this one should be, oopsie, in the rest position. Let this fit. Okay, it works. Okay, we're good. So first I just need to do it again this way, so it's like it has all its hair hanging on top of it. And I do feel like I should have more length in my thread, so I'm going to uncrank here a little bit. Okay, awesome. That looks right. So now let's see how I need to thread this. So now I'm going to go back to the very left again. So I'm going to go back to the first 4 threads of this whole warp. So those are we can find 2 grays and 2 golden yellow. So those were basically the 4 ones that were in the first slot to begin with. Now I have 3 threads in the slot and 1 is in the eye to its right. So now what I need to do is take those 4 threads that belong together since the beginning and then put them inside of the slot right in front of it. So I'm going to check it with my hook. It seems that this one would be the right one. It seems pretty straight. So I'm going to change the side of my hook. That would be easier. And I need to take the 4 threads all together and pass them through. So if I move on to the next slot, I have again 3 threads in this slot and there's 1 in the eye next to it. So those are the ones that I want. Now it's easier for the second one. I just need to go to the next slot on the heddle. So the first one was maybe the hardest one to figure out where to put the threads in. And now that's in. Alright, that's actually not as bad as I thought it would be. I find it way easier than I thought. So it's actually pretty easy to see which threads I need to take on my hook. It might not be that straightforward on the camera, but I really just like take the golden yellow thread from the eye and then grab everything that is left to it, and that's about it. The other threads are not in the way because they're already threaded, so they're like looking downward, so they're really like, I thought it would be like kind of like hard to try to make my way through it, but it's really not that bad, so yay! Alright, so now I need to put both reeds inside of the resting position, so that's one already good. It's just the back one that I need to put down. And I'm going to feel way more secure once it is down there. Alright, so there's only one last step to do, and it would be to thread the eyes of the front heddle. So the way that I understand it, I have worked the golden yellow inside of the eyes of the back heddle. So this means I believe that both golden yellow threads will be woven on the layer with the help of this back heddle. So now that I am at the front heddle, I need to actually be threading in the whole one of the gray threads. So this way, this layer with this heddle will be woven only with the gray threads. So if I go back to my very first slot to the right, so again I got 4 threads, I put them back here. Those are again the first four threads, the first 4 threads of the whole warp. So the 2 golden yellow threads, I'm actually done with them because they were taken care of at the back. So I have one in the eye and one that will stay in the slot, so that's done. So now I need to deal with the 2 gray ones, and I do exactly what I did with the first one. So I just leave one here, and I take a second gray thread and I put it inside of the eye of the heddle. And yet again, I would put it in the eye that is to the right of the group of 4 threads. And that would be it. I do a knot, and that's it. So it doesn't work, and so when I lift that one up, everything's fine, but actually the gray threads are crossing over the orange threads inside of the other shed, and so here it's all tangled, it's all twisted. So actually I did all of them wrong. I went back to the book and I actually read too fast. So the gray threads that would be going inside of the eyes, I put them on the eyes to the right, just like I did for the orange thread, but I was wrong. I needed to put them in the eye to the left, and it actually makes more sense this way too. So I just need to redo that. It shouldn't be too long. so and now I'm all warped up. I think the mistake is fixed, and now I can lift both heddles and it seems fine. So that would be it for today's video, because today was the warping. So join me in a few weeks when I will be releasing the weaving video. So let's see how to insert the pickup sticks and just how the weaving can be done. So stay tuned and see you soon. Bye bye.